Always Talking Shit Show.
Yo, 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 yo. What's up? This your boy King.
It's your boy Talkin, and this is the Always Talking Shit Show.
Podcast.
Fuck, how you feel?
Amen to that.
Let me turn my shit off.
Turn your shit off. How you been, man?
Having a hell of a week.
Oh, yeah?
So, I've had a slow leak in one of my tires, right? So, yesterday, I was like, we're going to take it to the tire shop. All right. So, I pull into here and go fuck with the OG homie or whatever, and I look at one of my other tires, and I see this little shiny thing sticking out. So, I walk up on it. It's a fucking nail in my back tire. So, I'm like, God damn. So, I took my shit to the tire spot. And end up having to get a whole new tire for the one that had the nail in it, and they had to repair the tire that had a slow leak.
How much they hit you for?
We don't talk about all that. Just
I feel you.
spending unnecessary money.
It'd be that
I
way.
just bought them fucking tires like 2 months
much,
ago.
huh?
No, it wasn't even that bad. It's just the price of a new tire.
Okay.
But the problem is I got the tires 2 months ago. That's the bullshit. It could be if a nigga had the tires for mad long, it'd be way different.
Yeah, no, man, that's that bullshit, as they say.
That's the one thing I hate about having a car. I mean, I'm glad that I'm blessed to have a car, but all the fucking maintenance and the bullshit that I have to do with that shit, this shit is not fun.
No, that's facts. That's facts. But, moving along. Sorry to hear about your bad news, my guy. Asian doll. You hear her comments?
Yeah, she fucks with Trump on like business shit or some dumbass shit.
No, it says so. I guess allegedly the artist Asian Doll. I can't reference any of her songs. Pardon me. This is not a diss. This is just facts.
We don't listen to Asian Doll.
She allegedly jumped out the window and said that she'd rather have Trump in office than that other guy being Biden. Now, you can vote for whoever you want to, but I think where her fans started with the backlash is because she sounded very uninformed. She basically was saying is that Trump was good financially for the country, economically for the country, which has been proven through actions of 4 years that that's not the case before COVID. And then she went on to say how he was out here giving everybody money, and he's giving everybody $1,200. So she obviously didn't know that Trump had very little to do with the stimulus package. He just only held it up and held it hostage so that those checks allegedly can have his name on them. I say allegedly because I have yet to get my stimulus. So what the fuck is she talking about?
They do have Donald Trump.
No, that's not my point. My point is,
I've seen it.
Why is she speaking for motherfuckers that ain't even got a check yet? The fuck you mean he's out here giving everybody $1,200? Fuck out of here. I ain't got my dough yet. And there's millions of people like me. So until that happens, that's not even a true statement. Furthermore, she just sounded very politically unastute and uneducated about the matter. She did backtrack a little bit, but then she kind of stayed firm and told her fans to suck her dick.
I mean, let's keep it 100. Do we really expect Asian Doll to be politically astute at all?
Asian Doll, aka Asia the Brat. I think that's her new tag. I'm not sure. I just want to be politically correct out here.
But here's what I'm saying.
No, to answer your question,
exactly.
Absolutely
we
not.
don't give a fuck about your opinion. First of all, you're rich, so you're not even in the trenches like
I don't even
we
know
are
if she's
still.
rich.
She's famous. Let's just say it that
Okay.
she's more well off than us. Let's say that.
Okay. Well, there's assumptions there. It's facts. She's famous.
That nigga that
She has
comes
some
with a
notoriety.
little bit of a bag. It might not be millions, but she's not struggling in the trenches like
She's on her way up.
Right. So first of all, like, I don't expect it's fucked up. I expect her to sound stupid. I expect her to say stupid shit and jump off the fucking porch. Like, I expect that out of a lot of these dumbass new young celebrities. I expect
Don't
it,
you
so
think
I'm
that's
not.
why they're put in those positions?
It is, but I'm no longer fucking. I'm no longer surprised by it.
No, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't recommend being surprised about it. You know, we're going to have to be efficient with that, my guy. That lighter.
Well, I'm telling you right now,
The Chronicles of the Lighter.
this blunt is not staying lit. But it's like, yeah, she don't sound politically astute, but I don't expect her to. I would be impressed if she was. You know what I'm saying? So,
Why is that?
have you heard her talk?
No, I don't know anything
She's
about
been in cancel culture for a while. Motherfuckers been trying to cancel her for almost a year now.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I was just looking for some reasons as to why you wouldn't be surprised at her saying such an ignorant statement.
Because that's what she's.
She did. That's her thing.
She's kind of built herself on shit like that.
So, in your opinion,
She's doing her job.
She represents ignorance.
Very much so.
Hmm.
I wouldn't want my fucking daughters using her as a fucking role model. Not even a little bit. But like, yeah, I expect her to spout off stupid shit. But the backtracking on it pissed me off. It's like, okay, yeah, they're both creeps and da 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 and all this extra shit. But it's like, then you go basically tell your fans suck your dick. So like, when you already don't even sound intelligent in what you're speaking.
Yeah, well,
A lot of your fans, even though they're your fans, are intelligent.
it all depends. I mean,
Some of them are astute.
They checked her,
And they know you sound fucking retarded. And sometimes this is stay in your lane. Period. Stay in your fucking lane. For her, she's not politically astute enough to go that route, to go that fork in the road, to go right instead of left. Stay in your lane. Educate yourself, then jump in this fucking arena. Don't just jump in this arena because you have a fucking platform to speak on. Because if you don't know what you're talking about, you're gonna do this.
But isn't that the thing? The issue is that no one, once you give everyone a platform, to some degree, no matter what drives the notoriety of said platform, they have a platform and they're not. You all right? They're not restricted of any particular topic to speak of. That's what makes social media so dangerous, especially with like celebrities, because a lot of people, there's a lot of young chicks out there that do fuck with her, that do look up to this young lady, and that's the message they got, and they riding with it. Especially like you said, when she coins it, when she defends it with basically ultimately just whatever, suck my dick, vote for whoever you want to vote for. That's not really a good, and then it's like, what response are you expecting her to have if she truly meant what she said in the first place? You feel me?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild, man. But really, what I, it's not our platform don't really give a fuck about an Asian doll.
We don't.
But what I was trying to,
but we give a fuck about this the misleading message that she's fucking.
That's what I was about to say.
We don't agree with that shit.
The reason why I put it on the docket is that, like, yo, there's a lot of misinformation campaign going on.
Misinformation out of her mouth.
We have to be careful, and we have to speak truth to power when we hear those things.
So, but like, man, it's just I gotta get myself into this, bro. But stop. My other thing is stop backtracking on the shit that you got to say. Like, stand on your fucking die on your shield. Here's my thing. Stop saying shit and then letting your publicist come back and help you out. Or letting somebody talk you off the ledge or whatever. Like, keep the same energy. Like, motherfuckers want to always jump off the porch and say how they really feel. And then somebody corrects them and it's like, all right, well, let me, maybe I shouldn't have said it. Nah, you said what you wanted to say.
I mean, to me, that's telling. When I see that, I move accordingly. I pay attention, because there's nothing wrong with a black person saying that they are voting for Donald Trump and that they don't see enough of a difference between a Joe Biden and his career and what Donald Trump represents.
You're entitled to your
You're
opinion.
entitled to that opinion, and you're entitled to be able to make that decision, especially as a black person here in this country. However, you have to be informed when you speak to the masses about that, or at least you should be. If not, who are you serving? What purpose are you serving? You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just better to just shut the fuck up.
We've seen it so many
Especially
times.
like you
We
said,
saw it
fam,
with my fucking
if you gonna
the
backtrack
quarterback
so
on
much.
my fucking team. Should have just shut the fuck up. Drew Brees shouldn't have said nothing along the lines of what the fuck he said.
Can I shoot
and
him
he
some
said,
Belvo?
and he said half of that was heartfelt, nigga. And you can't
So,
tell me it's not
but I
coming
think
from
Drew-
a heartfelt place.
I think Drew Brees, and I'm gonna shoot him a little bit of bail in this regard, from the optics, because all we have is the optics. The optics were bad on one way, from what he said, but I think he was just honestly ignorant, like a lot of white people are about history in this
But
country.
here's the
And
crazy
it's-
thing about that.
He didn't die on his shield.
But here's the crazy thing about that though. His wife then put out a fucking statement.
But we don't know if
saying,
that's because the backlash or not.
No, because she almost put it out immediately. Not even enough time for backlash to have. Like, almost like, babe, did you really just... Hold on, let me... Because basically she said, basically like, we're a part of the problem. And we need to educate ourselves.
Woeful ignorance. Yeah.
Like, she was like...
You're allowed to be ignorant because you're not affected by any of these things, so you just don't pay attention
But
to
she
it.
said, like, we have to educate ourselves. Like, she's like,
I agree with her.
will educate ourselves. Like, we have to. Like,
I agree with
what
her.
was said was some bullshit. And we're a part of the problem. Like, your own wife said that. So basically, your wife was like, hey.
It was just unintelligent.
Yeah, exactly. Your wife was like, you're smarter than that. Like, you're better than that. Like, why would you...
Well, we do this right now. This is what we do this professionally.
Right.
We spend a lot of time in front of a microphone. There's things that we're an uncensored podcast. There's things that we still edit out because of our character, and we're like, that's a little distasteful. That's not really what I meant. That's not the message I was trying to send. We could do without that part. So, in fairness, when you say something off the cusp with little thinking, and you say it from a position of privilege, that becomes a thing. That's where it becomes dangerous. These are the minute ways that privilege is bad for society, because you have somebody thinking that because their grandfather fought in the war, that they deserve all the things that come from that, but they can't see that there's another sector of their community that because they look different, even though they fought in the same war, they didn't get those honors. And to assume your position and thoughts on me based on your experiences and not on mine is selfish. It's a slave owner mentality.
Very.
You know what I mean? What I will say about Drew Brees,
to the point where your fellow
Drew Brees-
Texas boy, Sean Payton, was like, bro,
Drew Brees didn't run
what
from
did
that.
you say?
Well, then again, Sean Payton is in a position of leadership in the sense that I coach black men every day. I deal with their. I rely on their intelligence.
My whole career.
I rely on their athleticism and their gifts. I have to go to these people's homes and their communities. I know that some of these black boys that got dreads that with blonde tips, their grandfathers were World War vets and history and Vietnam vets and etc. You might not have the luxury of knowing that because you grew up in a privileged area where everyone pretty much looked like you and voted like you and thought like you.
You grew up in Texas and you went to Purdue.
But I'm not going to put that all on Texas. Like, you grew up in a certain part of Texas because they're thinking, shit, Houston and Dallas ain't all like that.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's just where you, because, even like here in Nevada, there's cats that grew up in the city, like around people, and then there's cats that grew up on the outskirts that might have a more skewed perception about things. Now, this is a smaller like area, so you can kind of, it should be easier to figure out, but it's not always. It's about your exposure and what you're exposed to. If you're not exposed to black culture or black people or black patriots, you might think there are none. Especially since most black heroes,
we're not glorified in any textbook,
especially
in any history,
especially
social studies.
since most black heroes have a disdain for quote unquote American culture.
It's because they went over there, gave their lives, put their lives on the line, to come back home and still be treated like shit.
Rest in peace, Grandpa.
Some of them were beaten for wearing their military clothes.
Or burned, or hung.
You know what I'm saying? So it came. A lot of these people just speak from ignorant ass places.
Some of them didn't even make it home from the airport to take their military shit off. And that's why black soldiers were getting memos to travel
without your
uniform.
Yep. And how does that sound? Like, okay, so I can go die to keep y'all free, but then
Or y'all in power, you know, however you want to spin it.
you know what I'm saying? And but then when I come here, I'm nothing. I'm wrong for wearing my military uniform that I just went and fought and shed blood, sweat, and tears in this motherfucker. And this is how I'm just.
No, I get it. I mean, it's just a
It's
frustrating
just too
thing.
much fucking. It's just so much ignorance.
And we're in the information era, so like a lot of this is now being brought to the forefront in discussions and in living rooms and in places that it's living. This conversation is living in spaces that it never had air in. You know, um, at the end of the day, the Drew Brees situation was an educational moment for this nation. There's a lot of people that grew up a lot like Drew Brees that look at him as an intelligent leader of men. How he's been marketed to us.
But
And
here's
then
the thing about
they see him make that blunder. What I'm trying to give him credit for is the way he walked through it. He didn't go run from the conversation. He had that conversation about 4 or 5 times publicly. He had it with very well known and very proud African American men.
he had to have a conversation with Malcolm Jenkins and fucking Ed Reed, nigga.
He spoke to several people. He spoke to Shannon Sharp.
Right.
He spoke. I'm sure he spoke to many more people that we didn't get a privilege of seeing and knowing. But that approach versus, hey, Tom Brady, all summer you've been representing this hat that says "Keep
Make America great,"
and now that you know the controversy and the mishaps are starting to pile up, you just act like it never happened. You don't speak on it. You have no comment.
But here's my thing with
here's my
thing with Drew Brees. Here's what pissed me off. Is Drew Brees has been quiet about the majority of this. Yeah, you've knelt with us. Okay. But the one time you speak out and jump off the porch, that's what you say in the fucking public.
It just shows
like,
you the ignorance.
That blew my mind. Like,
well,
bro, you don't even speak
on.
No, here's why it blew my mind. It's like you got the nerve to kneel with us. You got the nerve to pretend that you're on this side. But as misinformed as you are, you can't even say that you're on this side.
Well,
because it's like you jumped off the porch and the first thing you had to say about anything racial
that's where we messed up.
Was
kneeling with us doesn't mean you're on our side. Jerry Jones kneeled with his players. That don't mean that you're on their side. It just means that you might recognize that, hey, they're just kneeling and they do have the right in America to kneel. I'm gonna kneel with them.
Or no,
It
you know what?
No.
That's what it is. Hold on. It was the hypocrisy in it.
He didn't realize how deep it was.
You knelt with us,
yeah.
But then you talked about kneeling for the flag. How are you going to be hypocritical like that? You knelt with us.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why.
And then you say because we're disrespecting your grandfather you disrespected your grandfather, right?
My history in this country,
like what the fuck are we talking about?
Is that you really do come from all different walks of life, and some people, because of their skin color, because of their economic status, they're allowed to buy into frivolous things that a black kid in America is not allowed to buy into, which means, we're all team, we're all family. Well, we all know the white kids on our team might fuck with us in this locker room and on this field and on this court.
But they're not going to invite us over for dinner.
And if they do, they're not going to come to the courthouse and be a character witness when we're accused of some bullshit crime that sounds like we would never do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're, like those type of things. Are they going to defend us when a white cop beats our ass for no reason?
Here, and then that's what blows my mind too is the like the athletic privilege that comes with white privilege as well. Because that dude, the kid from Baylor, the tackle that got falsely accused of rape when it was consensual.
Right.
Spent 3 years of his life trying to defend that. Finally got acquitted. But you fucked this dude's whole career off.
And all those men,
but we go back to Brock. Then we go back to Brock Turner.
No, stay there real quick before you get to Brock.
No, but I'm saying is like athletes
I
that
get the correlation.
That one really raped a bitch.
I
don't mean. I'm sorry. That's disrespectful. One really raped a girl.
That's white privilege in a nutshell. But what I'm talking about is, look at all the like defenders of his character and his talent and his abilities, right? And what about the other white guy that was raping a girl and two men had to pull him off of her? And he only got like 9 months in prison because the judge said that he came from a good family and was a good kid and wouldn't do well and that would ruin his life. It's these
But
type of
we
things.
ruined.
They can see themselves in you, even in your mistakes. Whereas my only like point in the whole thing is drawing the correlation is that you had a kid that was recruited by every major school in the country. All these millionaire white men coming to his living room, coming to his youth center, coming to his church, trying to wine and dine his family to get a letter of intent.
Yep.
And now
To
that
make
he's
money
now
off
that
his-
he's
make
accused
money
of this,
off him.
now he's accused of this rape charge.
And we don't give a fuck
None of
about
those
him.
resources are there for him.
None of them went to bat for him.
None of those. You bet your
None
ass
of
that
them
Ba-
went
hold on.
to
Hold on.
court for
hold
him.
on. You bet your ass that Baylor didn't pay any legal fees. They didn't set him up with any attorneys. Any of those things. You know what I mean?
And could have set him up with some of the best attorneys in the world, off the money that he brought him
Well,
in the
you're
3
his
years he
guardian.
played there.
You're his guardian. You sign on as his guardian when you take a 17, 18-year-old kid
Right. From his environment where he
and
grew
bring
up
him
at,
across the country.
from his mom, from his
And-
dad, from his family. You know what I'm saying? And then we turn our back on him when it's fucking it's bad. Niggas is going to prison over something they didn't do. But Brock Turner does 2 months over something he did do.
And the thing is, I don't even want to concentrate on a Brock Turner. That I just want to live in a world, because I want to live in a world where Brock Turners go to jail too. But at the same time, I want to live in a world where freedmen, where innocent men are not guilty by association of skin color, culture, or any kind of like identifiable biases.
We're gonna talk. Let me
You know what I
say.
mean? So I like to hold on. I like to separate those things because they're two important things, but to me, they're two different things. The fact that a white man can rape a woman, and white culture has set up a society to whereas a judge and the legal system pities him just as much as they do the woman. That's a fight that I'm willing to participate in, but that's not a fight of my people. My people are fighting so that innocent boys that are just minding their business aren't accused of raping someone or being mischievous or criminal in some kind of way, and then it backlashing on the community. Because you got to understand the historic bias or the historic nature of this. These things have led to Black Wall Street being burned down, Rosewood, Florida being burned down. You know, all these different black thriving communities, Emmett Till being brutally murdered and lynched in the way that he was. All these different documented times where black men with very little evidence have been accused of atrocities and convicted to the fullest extent of the law. We gotta work on those things. We gotta speak on those things, and we gotta always talk about those things.
Can I get mine off?
Do your
Because
thing.
you did cut me off when I was
I
trying
didn't.
to. Yeah, I was still had
On
something
the
to say
playback?
about Brock Turner.
You're here on a playback.
I did have more to say. Just because I paused for a second doesn't. So before I lose my train of thought, my nigga, Mister, don't interrupt me. But I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, I know.
Nah,
You sound like a hypocrite right now.
so motherfucking crazy thing is, had that girl pulled out a gun and shot and killed Brock Turner, she'd go to prison.
I don't know about that.
What about the girl that was held captive and beat and raped and finally killed her abuser? Went to prison till Beyonce and them got her out.
Well, one's a black girl in foster
Wasn't who Brock Turner raped a black girl?
I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
don't
she
know.
was a black girl, bro.
I don't know that for sure. I don't know.
No, that was one of the big things about it. She was a black girl.
Well, there you go. Black women aren't protected.
Had she shot him and defended
Black
herself,
women aren't protected in this.
she'd be in prison right now trying to fight for her life.
Well, there's a video of a
Some
black woman
crazy
going to
shit.
pay one of her court fines, and and the judge or some shit like that rapes her right then and there. Like it's on camera, bro. That shit's not on everyday TV. They're not talking about that shit on The View or anything like that. I once read a story about how Gabrielle Union, bless her soul, was raped by a stalker and attacker. That shit isn't headline news like that. They didn't push that shit and coddle her.
They
and make
didn't
her
because
America's victim.
I've never heard of that, and
Make,
I'm like up on
hold
hella
on, I'm
like
just
pop
saying,
culture.
and make her America's victim.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we have to understand that that's
crazy.
just the history of this country.
Never knew.
And if we have ever believed that that things have changed like that, we're fools because the data suggests that things have not ever changed. So when you see certain people that are like headlocked in that kind of movement, and they're of those type of thoughts and conversations and actions, you know, for a long time, especially in the '90s, uh, niggas was frowning on that type of shit. Niggas was all that's corny, nigga. All you racist, all this black people. I don't
Right.
care about. You know, you got a lot of niggas that'll get power and be like, oh, I don't experience Lil Wayne's. I don't experience racism. I don't know what racism is. But then, like, if they get kicked out of an Oklahoma City game because their pants were sagging and
Right.
they didn't want to pull them up, Lil Wayne, then you call them racist. Like, it's just those type of things, man. Black people got to do better, and we have to demand better. You know what I'm saying? We have to organize better. The fact that Joe Biden has a plan specific for Black America is a long needed thing, and it's something that you can't ever specifically say any presidential candidate has ever ran on. And that's why the misinformation campaign is so real with the Biden Harris ticket, because they know that. Like, she got on the one and only time she knew she was going to speak to America without Joe Biden next to her as a black woman, a person of color, however you want to describe her,
Right.
a mixed biracial
Woman
person.
of color.
She said straight up. She
We're
said,
gonna take it further
no,
than
no, listen to
woman.
me. She said implicit bias exists. She challenged the vice president when he tried to downplay systemic racism.
Right.
And especially within the police infrastructure. And she challenged him on that. And she also said that while letting the world know, I'm the only one that's credited in this field. This is my field.
And you know what's crazy? They take that and they use that against her, like, oh, you had so much shit to say about Biden, but now you're running on his ticket as vice president.
Why do you
why is it that because she fucking tested this man and checked his temperature on a couple of things, she's blasting him and downplaying him and all that shit? Not at all. Like, I'm supposed to, if we're having a debate of any type, I'm supposed to check you, nigga. Period. You're supposed to check me. If it's, you know what I'm saying? If we're running for the same spot, you gotta tell me why you better, and I'm gonna question why you think you're better, and I'm gonna question you on certain stances that I feel like you have to have a say on, and that's what I'm supposed to do. So you're how it's just crazy how they always
I'm
try to
challenge
play
your documented record.
Right.
So at the end of the day, everybody comes with a documented record.
Yeah, I'm gonna challenge your shit that you did, and I'm gonna ask you about shit that you were documented doing. But that's me playing against you, and now I'm selling out because now I'm right. That's not selling out. That's okay. I feel like if I'm your vice president, me and you might be able to change some shit that I really want to fucking do because you're kind of on board. But I feel like I could push you to be more on board. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not wrong for say if we're running for something, you and I'm your vice president. I don't feel like I'm wrong or selling out for that because I feel like then all right, well, I got to work with him.
At the end of the day, every political person comes to the field as an individual with individual ideals. Their career is going to depend on their ability to work across the aisle and work with others. Right? Good leaders can be led. So at the end of the day, Joe Biden has his own expertise. And he has his own data that says, hey, this guy cares about these issues and these things. Now, coming up in the American political system, I feel that you're going to get your hands dirty a little bit. I'm not excusing any man or woman for getting their hands dirty. However, I do acknowledge that in American political systems, you're going to get your hands a little dirty. Part of getting those hands dirty, I just think that only the strong survive. How dirty are your hands going to be? And who is your ultimate master? Are you serving the people? Are you getting your hands dirty to provide for your constituents? or are you getting your hands dirty to become a gazillionaire to get power? Those things are telling in one's record, and I just think that the American people, this is a time for America to grow up. This is a time to get off Twitter, get off Facebook and Instagram, and pay attention. Do your due diligence. Don't let anyone tell you about the person that we're about to vote and give them the power of all of our future. They just made all of us depend on unemployment for the most part. I don't give a fuck about your work ethic, about your morals. All you people that look down on people that got unemployment and welfare and the food stamps and all those things, some of these very same people, no matter how good your job was, you're now being reduced to having to use and depend on some of these things. So I expect society to grow up from this and be a little bit better. I think 2021 should be a more prosperous, better America. It should be a more understanding and forgiving America. Now, I'm not naive. Things ain't going to change overnight, and this ain't going to be no utopia tomorrow. But what I'm saying is those people that thought they were elite, that thought they were upper middle class, that are on the verge of losing their home, maybe deciding, should we turn in one of the Benzes? Shit is
We
fucked
selling the
up
boat.
because my company used this pandemic as a reason to stop paying 90 of us 100K a year, or use this pandemic as an excuse to lay off 20,000 of us that was making over 80K. And you're hearing it all across the board. If you follow the stock market, you're hearing all across. All these companies are reshaping. And one of the things that the pandemic taught them, and we should learn from this too, is that, this internet shit is lucrative. And with all these FaceTimes and Zooms and things like that, and Google meetings, there's no reason, you don't necessarily have to come to the office. Like, I don't need to pay for 165 office spaces when I can narrow that down to 80, and the rest of you motherfuckers can Zoom in when we need to talk. The rest of y'all niggas working from home. Y'all been working from home. Our numbers have went up because we ain't paying no lighting, no electricity. We're not paying any insurance to having you motherfuckers in the office.
Right.
We're not doing any of those things. We're paying you from home. You do your thing. You know what I'm saying? It's easier. Now, instead of having 32 managers making managerial salaries and benefit packages, we only got 8 because all they really doing is logging in on Zoom and checking everybody's numbers via their laptop at home. Motherfucker, you're not even working a whole 8-hour shift. So
Show up for like an hour and then you out.
you might can squeeze that to 4 hours. So not only did you lucky to keep your job, you seen we fired everybody else, right? All right, well, motherfucker, now you working this many hours.
You lucky to even get that.
Yeah,
you could have been one of them.
You part-time salary now.
Right. You could have been one of them
You
on
know
the
what I'm
outs.
saying? And that's really what it is. And so what it is like, dog, I read something once that like during the Great Depression, that's when like Nathan's Hot Dogs when it was founded. Like so many staple companies came out of that. From Detroit to New York to Philly. The places that got hit the worst. Because it forced people to rely on their human creativity. So if you're the person that makes the best chicken, you might have to go ahead and go get LinkedIn. Your brother-in-law works at the butcher. You getting all these chicken wings for the low. You frying them, and you might be on the corner after your little job and be forced to sell chicken. And now next thing you know, that's Doc On's chicken.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes some of the greatest like innovations come out of necessity. It comes out
no
of
doubt.
that need. Like damn, man, shit is fucked up.
all barbecue food came out of necessity, bruh.
I mean, that makes sense.
Ribs and all that shit,
yeah,
that
makes
came
sense.
out of straight. That was what was left over. That was what white people considered the bad meat, and we turned
Well,
it
same
into
thing
some
with
fire
soul
shit.
food. Yeah, like it's
You know
just
what I'm saying?
no, I get it, but like I'm talking about even
And that's out of
even something-
necessity.
I'm talking about even something that like benefits everyone. Like I'm talking about something like, hey yo, it's pretty fucked up in these New York fucking project buildings. Maybe if we got heater units, that would help curb the winter. Like I'm just talking about just building shit because like you know what, man, hey, what we gonna do? We doing this because this is all we got, and this is the best we can do with what we got. I'm just talking about that type of spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think every human has it. Every culture of human has it to a degree. Some people are just forced to tap into it more and more often, and they come from generations that have been forced to tap into it